It's 9 o'clock, and you're watching Fox 34 News at 9 in high definition.
I've seen more than one life turned upside down over a little bit of marijuana. So I don't advocate it for my children, and I'm glad it's illegal, but we really kind of need to think about what we're doing with it all the way around.
So what is Texas doing about pot? I'm Nina DeSaro. How an El Paso representative's bill could have changed the way law enforcement handles marijuana possession.
Left and right, we're seeing more and more states adopting marijuana reform laws. Even a bill in the Texas House made progress towards decriminalizing small amounts of this drug.
I'm Nina DeSaro with the representative who sponsored the bill, why he says we are spending too much time, money, and resources on putting away these nonviolent offenders. Hydro, dro, swag, 3 words used to describe one controversial plant, marijuana.
If everybody who'd ever ingested had their skin turn purple, we'd have a lot of purple people in America.
From hippies in the 60s to our nation's presidents.
I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it.
Like I might have smoked some, for example.
Yeah, I inhale frequently.
And even a couple of today's presidential candidates.
There are a lot of people now who are over 50 who've been perfectly successful in life, both in terms of their relationships and their work ventures, and they, in their past, had ingested marijuana, and it didn't turn them into a stone idiot.
Yet 31 states, including Texas, continue to hand over harsh penalties for possession. That's why Representative Joe Moody from El Paso introduced House Bill 507.
The justice system has one punishment, up to 180 days in jail, $2,000 fine. That's what the criminal justice system says we do with low-level possession. However, that conviction will follow you for the rest of your life.
If passed, Moody's bill would make 1 ounce of marijuana or less a civil penalty with a maximum fine of $100.
My bill doesn't legalize anything. It just changes the sanctioning regime of taking from criminal to civil and just saying, look, we're gonna penalize this. We're just gonna penalize it differently because the way we're doing it right now is not an effective use of our tax dollars, and it's definitely, I think the punishment right now doesn't fit the crime.
According to the American Civil Liberties Union, Texas arrests nearly 74,000 individuals each year for simple marijuana possession, which equates to $250 million a year spent on enforcing pot possession.
We are spending an enormous amount of money arresting, incarcerating, and prosecuting what are mostly nonviolent, low-level offenders who are primarily young people.
If Texas were to make possession a civil offense, the ACLU senior policy strategist says it could save the state millions.
It costs about $3 to $5 a day to put somebody on community supervision, probation or parole, and it costs about $50 a day to incarcerate somebody.
That's a 90% decrease.
Not only do you free up people to go about their business, police officers, but that's money out of a defense lawyer's pocket. That's cases not clogging up the county court system. Really, it'd be cheap and save everybody a lot of money.
And that's something else to consider. Law enforcement resources.
And this is what's frustrating sometimes, even a residual amount that someone couldn't scrape into a bowl and smoke or put into a cigarette and even ingest. We'll take that officer off the street for 2 to 3 hours. They've got to impound a car, drive that person to jail, book them in. That officer's off the street, not able to respond to an emergency or a violent person, a domestic situation. They're out of commission dealing with something that's probably not even usable. Texas law allows that.
Sometimes it can take officers hours to process offenders.
If law enforcement is spending several hours booking and processing a 17-year-old for having marijuana, that's really time that could have been spent chasing violent criminals or addressing other crimes that I think should be a higher priority.
There are a lot of other things excellent police officers have to do than fiddle around with some person with a tiny amount of marijuana.
And speaking of law enforcement, tomorrow we'll hear their take on Lubbock's dealings with the drug and why authorities say Lubbock's laws are fine, just the way they are. With photojournalist Andrew Wood, Nina DeSaro, Fox 34 News at 9.